A PlayStation Showcase is likely around the corner, with reliable insiders claiming that it will be happening in May, and previous years certainly point to a late May appearance from PlayStation. But with growing anticipation of a showcase, there are expectations, predictions, and maybe even some frustrations. The 2023 showcase had a severe lack of first-party PlayStation studio presence, and the few studios that did show up simply had cinematic announcement trailers, which tend to be less popular. And gamers want gameplay, and gamers want release dates, and that was lacking from most of those games. More than that, of an absence of first-party studios at last year's showcase, there has been a very noticeable amount of silence from the studios as well. A wide variety of theories have been made as to why. Maybe studios are focusing on getting their games ready for the PS5 Pro so they can have the PS5 Pro Enhanced label. Maybe PlayStation is sandbagging and holding titles back until absolutely necessary, as third-party games continue to do very well on their platform. There has even been some who have jokingly said that they've been making room for all of those first-party Xbox games that have come over, and the likelihood of more on the way. Regardless of where you stand on the various theories, it certainly seems like it is time for the first-party studios to start talking, which begs the question, will the PlayStation Showcase of 2024 be a monsoon of first-party announcements? I'm not ready to predict that that's what it's going to be, because Sony continues to strike me as a company that likes to keep their cards close to their chest. But I thought it would be helpful to look at all the possible announcements as well as appearances. And we have to remember, Concord is the only major first-party game to land this year, with the rest landing no sooner than second quarter of 2025. Now, I'm going to do this in order of most likely to least likely, and every weekday here on Reforge Gaming, I tell you what I think about a gaming topic, and then we go to a live stream where I want to hear what you think. So if you want more content like this, be sure to hit subscribe. Now, I'm going to walk through all of the possible first-party games, announcements, and studios who may show up at the PlayStation Showcase. But then I also want to talk about the role that the PlayStation 5 Pro is likely going to play as well, and that could tie in to why so many studios are staying silent and who might show up and who might not. The first thing that I think has the greatest likelihood of showing up at the PlayStation Showcase this year is Ghost of Tsushima 2. The timing is certainly hard to ignore. There are rumblings about the movie continuing to surface, and they just had a massively successful port of Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut to PC, and it exceeded all of the previous first-party PlayStation PC port concurrent player records. Previous games like Horizon and God of War, they clearly synced up their marketing with their sequel as well as the PC port landing. And it's been 4 years since Ghost of Tsushima launched, so an announcement trailer for the next game is in order, with all likelihood of the release date landing in 2025, and it could follow the Horizon launch window, as typically early in the year is when the Horizon games landed. And this might be a mixture of wishful thinking, because I really do love the first game, Ghost of Tsushima 1, and I've been thrilled to see the strong reception of that game on PC. So I think one of, if not the most likely appearance from first party this year is Sucker Punch announcing Ghost of Tsushima 2. The next prediction or possibility that I think is going to happen is something from Insomniac, and I don't think it's going to what people are hoping for or expecting. I do not think we see anything about Wolverine or even the rumored spin-off Venom game. Insomniac was just active on Twitter this week, indicating that now is not the time to show or announce anything for Wolverine. I think they will bring Spider-Man 2 DLC. I could even see the spin-off Venom game that we were hearing about. That might have gotten turned into a Spider-Man 2 DLC. A lot of what we saw in those Insomniac leaks may have been subject to change. Now, we also saw plans to bring multiplayer or online to Spider-Man 2. I don't know if that's still headed to the game, but I think we could see Spider-Man 2 DLC release this year. Now, the one report indicated that there would be no major franchise releases this year from first-party PlayStation studios this fiscal year. So DLC, though, I don't think falls under that category. We know that Spider-Man 2 did well. We know that Spidey pulls, so it's probably time to announce that first DLC. I may circle back to this, change what I think when it comes time to talk about the PS5 Pro, but right now I feel is a good time for a Spider-Man 2 DLC to show up at the PlayStation Showcase. The next prediction is fairly easy to make given a handful of things. Concord is almost guaranteed to be at the PlayStation Showcase first because, according to a PlayStation blog, it is releasing this year. And since all we got last year was a cinematic with some cool music, the showcase is the perfect time to finally let us see gameplay. But the PlayStation blog is not the only reason to anticipate Concord's appearance. Insider Gaming published an article with the following title: "Details on PlayStation's Concord to be revealed in the next 2 weeks," it is claimed. And this is what they say. According to a reputable data miner, Bill Kuhn via Deal Labs, who obtained the major of this information via data mining, according to him, new details on Concord are set to be revealed by his estimations within the next 15 days, around 2 weeks. Now, this could obviously mean an appearance at Summer Game Fest with Jeff Keighley instead, but since the game first debuted at PlayStation Showcase last year, I think they would handle the next appearance. And if you're curious what kind of game this is, well, PlayStation published a blog at the time entitled "Introducing Concord, a new PvP multiplayer FPS from Firewalk Studios coming to PS5 and PC." And they said this: "Concord is a bringing together of peoples. It's the power of games to build connection and inspire social play. The Firewalk team is driven by the type of exciting, unexpected moments and shared experiences that multiplayer games create. Every time you log on is the beginning of a new adventure, and every match is an opportunity for a new story. If these ideals that define Concord, its unique universe of vibrant worlds, and its rich cast of colorful characters." Now, the same blog also said this: "There's so much more we can't wait to share with you, and we're looking forward to fully revealing Concord ahead of launch next year." So I expect if they're going to do a full reveal, it's going to land in the PlayStation Showcase. Now, this next game is one of the ones that led to some frustration from PlayStation fans last year. It was one of the first-party cinematic-only announcement trailers. The Fairgame CGI reveal trailer paints a clear picture that it will be some type of squad-based heist game, but PlayStation provided more details with the PlayStation blog, where they titled it "Introducing Fairgames, a competitive heist experience coming to PS5 and PC." So it's clear we're looking at another PlayStation Live Service game with the inclusion of PC in the announcement. This game is coming from the studio Haven, and they describe it as the following from the blog: "Fairgames is a fresh, modern take on the heist genre. In a nutshell, this is a thrilling, competitive heist game where you join an underground movement to rob the ultra-rich and rebalance the scales. I feel that they're going to probably treat this one a bit like Helldivers 2, and they're going to give us gameplay at the showcase and then release it sometime in 2025. Some of my predictions are based on that I don't think PlayStation's going to announce things unless they're about 2 years away from releasing. So Concord had their cinematic trailer, they're releasing this year. I think Fairgames is going to get a similar cadence, and they're going to land next year. I don't think it makes sense to do an announcement trailer and then say absolutely nothing the following year, especially given how quiet all the other studios have been. This next game prediction comes by way of insider info and what is basically a leak. Pulling from Insider Gaming here, they state the following: LEGO and PlayStation are working on a new game called LEGO Horizon Adventures. And ordinarily stuff like this would not be worthy of a prediction, but there's more to this story. The report indicates that this was discovered because of a filed trademark, and Insider Gaming points to a tweet that claims the following: LEGO Horizon Adventures. This is the name of the product that is going to be announced at the upcoming PlayStation event. I don't know if it's a game. So obviously the discovery of the fact that it was a game, that came later. But the intel that they found indicated to them that this game would be announced at the upcoming PlayStation event. It doesn't seem clear whether or not Guerrilla is involved with this, but I would imagine they would be part of the announcement at some level, and they may even be included in the event itself. Just last month, we started hearing that another Astro Bot game was in the works, and one article reported it would be showing up this year along with other smaller first-party games. TheGamer.com reported that, quote, Astro Bot and other smaller first-party games will launch on PS5 this year, says Insider. Now, this would line up well with what we know about no major franchises showing up this year. And while this year is largely leaning on third-party games for PlayStation, as well as PlayStation-published games like Helldivers 2 and Stellar Blade, smaller first-party games like Astro would make sense. Now, this info came from none other than Jeff Grubb. And after he said he had heard that a full PlayStation showcase would be happening in May, the article says the following: Grubb specifically says that he's heard about several smaller first-party games that PlayStation is working on right now, and specifically references the unannounced Astro Bot game that's been rumored to be in development for some time. And this is the quote that they attribute to him. He says the following: "I do keep hearing that there will be some smaller first-party games like that Astro game that is supposedly still happening this year, and I'm very excited about that." So, if Astro Bot is coming this year with a brand new game, I expect to see it at the showcase. So the last game to show up that I think is the most likely before I move on to talk about the PS5 Pro and the other studios that have been silent is Destiny 2: The Final Shape. This is the next big expansion from Bungie, and it's releasing on June 4th, so it makes perfectly good sense that you would use the PlayStation Showcase for one last big push before it lands. We know, based on recent reports as well as layoffs, that there is a lot riding on this DLC for Bungie. Destiny is in a bit of a different first-party category because they are owned by PlayStation, but their game and their future games will remain multi-plat. So, less to say about this because it is just a DLC, but its appearance at the showcase is very likely. Now, very quickly before I talk about the PS5 Pro, I do have a couple of things worthy of quick mention. First, God of War Ragnarok coming to PC. I'm not sure if they would use a showcase to announce this. They have handled their PC port announcements with very low fanfare, but I know it's on everybody's mind. The next likely game to get a PC port is going to be Ragnarok, and typically they wait at least a year from the last update to a game. So Valhalla landed end of 2023. So I think fourth quarter of 2024 is a potential release window for God of War Ragnarok on PC, but I don't know if it'll be at the showcase. Now, another quick mention, Death Stranding 2. Now, this is not a first-party game, but it made a very big splash at the last PlayStation State of Play, and the trailer was rather lengthy, clocking in at over 9 minutes. And it was a very strong showcase of the Decima engine. But we know that Kojima likes Jeff Keighley, so I think this game is more likely to land during the Summer Game Fest kickoff with Jeff than during the PlayStation showcase. Now again, this is not a first-party title, but I know it's on everybody's radar with respect to PlayStation as well as future events. Now the last quick mention that I want to make is that the DualSense controller with a longer battery life will probably be included in this episode of Showcase. Early this year, it was leaked by a retailer, and Games Radar states the following: new PS5 controller with 12-hour battery life leaked by a retailer. Now, typically PlayStation likes to have at least one hardware announcement per showcase, so this is a definite possibility. Now, when it comes to the PS5 Pro, I have made the following prediction numerous times. I do not think PlayStation says anything about the PS5 Pro at the upcoming showcase. I believe they will do a standalone state of play just for the PS5 Pro, likely landing in September. Now, some of this is based off of what they did with the PS4 Pro, but also, I don't think they want to disrupt PS5 sales demand until absolutely necessary. And a great way to get people to go buy your PS5 is after a slew of big announcements at a showcase. So I think we're going to get a PS5 Pro state of play in September, and then a launch date for the Pro will likely be October or November. Now, this is related, I think, to a lot of the silent first-party studios. I could see sort of saving them, okay? Saving their games, their announcements, or even enhancements to existing games for this state of play that I am predicting. The following studios is who I'm thinking about. You have Bend Studio, you have Naughty Dog, you have Blue Point, Housemarque, Santa Monica, and Guerrilla. We know Bend has been working on a new project for a while, and it's not Days Gone 2. We don't even think that that's been greenlit, although it might have been, and that could be what they move to next. But they are working on something that is not Days Gone 2. Then, Neil Druckmann from Naughty Dog just had some very bold and strong claims about the project that they are working on. Some think that he's talking because, well, they're getting ready to make an announcement. And after canceling Factions, I would imagine both PlayStation and Naughty Dog are anxious to put on a better face and make a good announcement. Then Blue Point, they've not set up or shown anything since Demon's Souls Remake, and we know they are working on their own project. Housemarque, the team behind Returnal, they've been working on a new game. We know it is not a sequel to Returnal, so they could show up. Santa Monica could show up and do something with, again, the PS5 Pro if it has its own state of play. You could do something with God of War Ragnarok, God of War 2018, get that Pro enhancement label. There's also the rumored spin-off Atreus game that could be used, and we know Cory Barlog is spearheading a game as well. Then, Guerrilla, there is the rumored Horizon Zero Dawn remaster or remake, whatever it ends up being, probably a remaster. That would be perfect for a PS5 Pro enhanced game, as well as all of the other numerous Horizon projects that we know are working on. So after all is said and done, PlayStation has a lot of irons in the fire. And the question is, do they pull them all out this year? Whether they do that at the showcase or at this PS5 Pro State of Play that I think comes later. My personal opinion is open the floodgates. Just let all the salvos go. But knowing PlayStation, it's likely they're going to leave us wanting. They're going to keep games, studios, and announcements from poking their head out until they feel the time is right. But those are just my thoughts. And now it's time to hear your thoughts. And you can do that in a comment below or in a live stream that follows this, which usually pops up right here with the card. And also, it'll be linked below in a comment. And if you want more content like this, please like, share, and subscribe.